let's talk about how to hear and understand your spirit guides.
So I want to ask you a question. Do you think that your spirit guide is a literal person, or your inner wisdom? Is it your subconscious mind, or sometimes your superconscious mind? Is it your higher self?
Is it a totally separate being like God, goddess, archangels? Is it your grandma or your aunt that passed away, or an angel, or possibly all of the above?
Who do you think your spirit guide or inner wisdom is? What is that voice that is speaking to you and guiding you?
Before we get started, let us know if you are excited for this one by dropping a hashtag excited in the comments.
And if you're just getting to know us,
I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
I'm
.com, home of our Intuitive Awakening community and Zened Academy. Now, let's make a deal. If and only if we bring you value today, would you be open to an offer at the end that will blow your mind? I think that's fair, right? Besides, if at any point you think that we are wasting your time, you can always turn this off and go about your day. Deal? Okay, let's go.
Let us know in the comments what you believe as far as what your spirit guide is and what is your inner wisdom. And I think that may or may not be as important to know as you might think.
We're going to explore some things around that, but I think here's the thing. We get really hung up on the messenger instead of the process and the feeling of the message.
And we can actually, in that process of trying to find out who it is, sabotage the message process itself. So before we get into mediumship work, like what spirit am I talking to? Are they bad? Are they great? We need to figure out how we're listening.
Yeah, because I kind of think that it just depends. This webinar is about being a better receiver, and it's going to be different than any webinar that you may have ever been on, because we're just going to give you a crap ton of good stuff, okay? Because I think that's where we screw up, right? Because we get messages from all over the place, from inside our mind, from our own panic, from grandma trying to speak to us from the other side, from our angels or whatever it is. And if our radio station has an old broke down antenna with so much static on the line, there's not much you can do. It doesn't matter who is speaking to us. The message isn't going to get through in the right way. You got a broke antenna. Fix it.
Say you've got a radio that has a bunch of radio stations that all have great music and they're playing songs that you really love. The key component is the message or the songs that you love on these different stations. To hear better, you get a better radio, better speakers, then you get better quality.
Let's say all the stations that you're listening to are all different angels and grandmas, inner wisdom. All these stations are playing a song about love. And they're all songs, and they're all good, and we have a really crappy radio in our car. We can't really pick up on any of them. You're like on the dial going, love, I love it. So what do? We get better speakers, better antenna. We clean up the sound. We improve. We eliminate the static. And when we receive the message, we hear it so much better.
So after a while, you might not even need a radio. You just might feel inspired on your own, kind of directly connect. You might make up or channel a song about love that is totally inspired and kind of cut out the middleman, or so you think. Because sometimes we slow ourselves down with the trivia and the details.
So now here's a question. Do I need a spirit guide to talk to grandma who passed away?
No, just directly connect. Just think about her and tune in. Sometimes that seems like a big leap for us, so we want an intermediary. But sometimes we get caught up on the details and it slows us down.
And here's the thing, especially when it comes to a family member, especially somebody that you're already close to in spirit. You've already got a direct connection to them. You already know what they're like. You already know what their energy is like, their soul, their spirit, whatever you want to call it. You already know that energy. So it's easier for you to tap into that radio station. You've already got it on a preset. Okay, so you just directly connect because you and your grandma have a relationship and she didn't need a secretary in real life. You just called her on the phone. So call her on the phone. You can just tune into her.
Yes. So it really is about improving yourself as a receiver. So we're going to break down this really simply into 2 clear guidelines and make it super simple. And then we're going to give you 11 rapid fire badass tips for trusting and improving your receiver, for trusting your own intuition. In other words, improving yourself as the receiver.
The inner voice is known by many names, and for our purposes, it doesn't matter which name you choose. As you progress on your spiritual path, you might call it different things. God, Goddess, Holy Spirit, your conscious, Jiminy Cricket, your spirit guide, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it.
I want to tell you something really important. This applies if you believe in an afterlife or don't believe in an afterlife, or if you're an atheist or you believe in God. I think it all applies because we all need inner guidance, right? So if you don't believe in an afterlife, you still might need some inner guidance in this life. Then you might just be calling it your superconscious or your subconscious mind or your inner wisdom. So all of these guidelines we're going to give you apply regardless of the name you choose. Yes, whatever you call the thing, it doesn't matter. The thing works the same.
Yes, exactly. And that's not that Volkswagen thing that we're talking about. That's about the thing itself, right? The mechanism. So let's get into listening before we get to the tips. We often ask for guidance, right? But here's the thing. We forget to listen afterwards. This is a 2-part process in traditional prayer and in meditation. In the West, we kind of just ask and don't listen, where in the East, there may be more emphasis on the listening and meditation part, right? So we've been trained to pray and petition, but we've sort of been trained out of listening.
We can call this process prayer and meditation, or if you prefer to be more new agey and shit, intention setting and allowance. The second part is what requires the art of listening. And listening definitely is an art because you have to know how to use your ears, your instrument, your entire body, mind, and spirit as that instrument to tune it into listening. Because the important part is not the asking, it is the listening. The receiving of the answer, the direction, the guidance, the inspiration, the intuition. There you go. That's it.
Boom. In a nutshell, if you are not listening, it doesn't really matter who's talking. So whatever name you call the thing, it's irrelevant if you're not even listening to the thing. So here's the thing. Okay, see what I did there? We sometimes feel as though the more that we shout our questions into the void, whatever that void is, the better answers we're going to get somehow.
I met an Episcopalian priest one time who was addressed by one congregant who complained that they kept asking and asking and asking God and didn't get an answer. And they're in a panic, and he said, you know what? Stop nagging God. He's already heard you. He's already listening. He's like, ask once and then do your best after that to listen. If you keep nagging, you can't hear. He's like, don't nag God. You think he's got better things to do than pick up your 500 messages that all say the exact same thing? He heard you the first time. Just because you're shouting doesn't mean the question is going to get across any better.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the more you're talking, the less you're listening. So the more that you nag God, I'm going to use that analogy because it works for a metaphor for the inner voice for a moment. You're nagging God so much, you can't think. So what happens when you nag God is that your logical mind might start to interrupt the process and start to make answers for you and create scenarios and solutions to your problem that might not even be solutions, but maybe more problems, and gets in kind of a state of panic. Then you're not in listening mode or in your listening mind at all. And it's not even God or your inner wisdom, but your inner freak out feedback loop.
Or it starts creating more fears of I'm never going to get my answer. God's not listening to me. He's abandoned me. The universe doesn't give a fuck about me. So now you're shouting and you're asking and you're not listening, which brings you further out of your center of listening to your intuition. So you might not notice your answer when it does come.
Boom. So here are those 2 simple ways to hear your inner voice, your guides, and recognize what is intuition and what is freak out. But first, I want to check in and make sure that this stuff is valuable for you. Are you still with us? Let us know in the comments, #valuable. Okay? Because we are excited to share that offer at the end, and we want it to be a fair exchange. You listen to the offer only if we are providing value. That was the deal.
We'll get deeper into those 11 tips afterwards to help you fine-tune the process, because when we get hung up on the details, like we said, we miss the message.
First, we're going to talk about that inner voice and what it should feel like, so that we can help you to open up to trusting your own messages. We love to help connect people to their truth, to their intuition, to clear their own static in their own minds so that they can connect directly. That's one of the things that we're doing here today.
So, in a crisis, we can be suddenly shocked into aligning with the inner voice, and it can be a life-changing experience. But what should the inner voice really feel like in a crisis? Sometimes we tap into it spontaneously, and when this happens, it is a great opportunity to stabilize that experience while the channel is open and right there. But often, people just go back to business as usual after a crisis event and lose that connection. So when you feel that connection, it's important to learn how to stabilize it.
So you should feel 2 things if it is your true guidance. This is very important. First, when you are experiencing true guidance, you will experience this sense of peace. And you just know that things are simply going to work out. You may not be able to explain it all, but you just know it's going to work out.
Second, you begin to feel empowered and know that you can and you will prevail in that moment. Yeah, it's like in the movies when something clicks in and you get that message and everything just clears up and time slows down and you know what to do. It's not panic. There's no fear when the message is valid. You just feel at peace.
Peace and empowered. And that's that movie moment that Heather's talking about, where you experience that epiphanic moment of clarity where the sky opens up and everything is just like, I've got this. Okay? Yeah, so when you've got that moment where everything just kind of stops for a moment, pauses for a moment, and you're like, I've got this, that's the moment when you know you are fully connected to absolute truth, to your soul truth, to your guides, to your guidance, to your intuition, whatever name you want to give it. That's when you know you are connected. Okay, there's no doubt, there's no question. The static is gone. It is crisp. It is clear. Clarity.
And the answers from your inner guide do not need to come from a prophet or the burning bush to be validated. They can be present in every moment, from a billboard, a commercial on TV, or a random song on the radio, a few words from a person on a bus. Life just becomes joyful in one string of messages after another that is natural and fun.
Yeah, and it validates what you already know inside. One thing before we go on, we have seen some who get lost in an obsessive need to seek answers everywhere. And I mean, some get obsessed to the point where they can't wake up and leave the house without getting a message. That sort of sign seeking might be coming from fear.
Just might. So when you're seeking obsessively, looking for signs on the daily about every move you should make, that's 99.9% coming from fear. The messages you get back are probably not going to come from spirit. They're probably going to be coming from your panicked, logical mind trying to get a solution.
Boom. Yep, I got 99 signs and fear ain't one. Right? I see this often with people who overuse their pendulums. For instance, they'll use the pendulum in the supermarket. Which shampoo is better for me? I don't know, my pendulum's not working, so I guess I can't shampoo my hair. Just pick the one you like, okay? You might be trying to get an answer from outside of yourself and try to not make a mistake because, God forbid, you pick the wrong shampoo. So that's where I think we slip out of alignment with that inner guidance. That's the true guidance. And we get into fear and start making decisions from fear.
We'll talk about the two voices here in just a moment, but just a side note, meditation and hypnosis can help you connect to self and that sense of peace. Hypnosis or guided meditation can be a great way for you to kind of connect to that truth inside of you, bypass that fear center, and get into a peaceful, calm, connected, truthful state.
Boom. Especially when it's done with someone who really knows what they're doing, or even better, specializes in spiritual types of hypnosis. The guided meditations that we do include a lot of techniques from hypnosis. You're already in a hypnotic state. When you're going through those particular guided meditations, it is a very similar state to hypnosis, and that's the state that you should feel. Calm, chilled out.
A question we get all the time is, how do I contact my inner guide? Let's say you know your guide's name is Rose, but you don't know anything beyond that. You've already contacted them and they've already contacted you, whether that's your inner wisdom or your spirit guide out there. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It's how you receive it.
And are you listening? Okay? So before we continue, I want to remind you that we've got a super special offer at the end that will blow your freaking mind. I guarantee it, because we're kind of cool that way. But you have to stay to the end to take advantage of it. I guarantee it will be worth the wait. I mean, this stuff is gold already, right? You're still here. Obviously, there's something in it for you. But what's coming up is platinum and glitter with a sprinkle of fairy dust.
Love it. So moving on with the gold. How do I contact my inner guide? The question you should ask instead is, how do I listen to my inner guide? Because it is not how do I contact them or are they trying to contact me, but how do I listen to my inner guide? Because it is always there. The contact part is easier than we're making it.
Absolutely. So, matter of fact, the contact is probably already established before you're consciously searching for the contact. It's already there. The line is already there. The radio stations are already putting out music. You just have to learn how to turn on your radio, tune into the station, and then go buy some better speakers and throw out the old janky speakers you got.
All right, so there are two voices we listen to. I want you to start here and then go forward listening to your own messages. So we want to invite you right now to open up and tap in. Everybody do it for just a second.
Find that place of calm. Find that state of peace.
There are two voices. The first voice is stimulated by fight or flight.
That's not the calm one. Okay? And it's prompting you to do something now, right now. Sometimes, oftentimes, when that one's in control, it's overriding the quieter voice. But if you tuned into the radio, you can get a now message, but you can be in a calm state. And that's the biggest difference between that fight or flight voice and that truth, that sense of calm. So often, that first voice is speaking and motivated by an underlying emotion of fear.
It's okay. It's letting you know your primal mind is working as designed. You're triggered, you're fearful, and you should run. You're not really sure if it's a real threat or not yet, although it should only play as a first response, a first responder, if you're in immediate danger of being eaten by a jaguar. So side note, as we get to the second voice, if you're in immediate danger of the jaguar. So side note, as we get to the second voice, if you're in immediate danger of the jaguar and your station is clear, you might not even get that fight or flight response. You might actually go, oh, there's a jaguar. Let me get myself out of here. And you handle it in a really calm way.
So the message might be now, but might not be from that fight or flight state. So that's the first voice that most of the time is going to be wrong, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be like now, do it now. Very, very pushy, right? Like I said, unless there's an immediate threat. And even then, if it comes with a sense of clarity, and we've heard a whole bunch of stories, I'm sure you guys have heard stories too, about near-death experiences or moments when somebody could have died, but they snapped into clarity and calm and saved the day.
Yep, they put their seatbelt on the moment before, or they turned a different way down a particular street, but didn't have a sense of panic about it. They were just, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. Most people should drive with their seatbelts on, by the way, you know. But yeah, that sense of calm comes with a genuine message. So for me, I'm a kind of person that will cruise pretty calmly through a crisis, but afterwards is when I get the adrenaline rush, like, yeah, that just happened, whoa.
So the second voice, number 2, the second voice is calm, still, and peaceful. This is your true inner guidance. Regardless of who's on the other end of the line, you know that you can trust the voice. Whether it's your inner wisdom, your subconscious, grandma, whatever it is, it's still peaceful and calm, okay? And it tells you not to panic or to worry. You've got this.
Just soak in the beauty of the moment. Enjoy watching the jaguars on the Wildlife Channel from the safety of your living room, because the jaguars aren't really real. We're talking about metaphorical jaguars. Jaguars in the wild are real, but they aren't really going to kill you, right? So you want to stay in that calmness unless you're out in South America where they might eat you.
Maybe while you're watching TV.
And then practice, South America hood sense.
Right.
Jungle hood sense.
Jungle hood sense. So pay attention to these two voices and how the information comes in. Go with a sense of knowing, go with a first impulse, and let it come from that state of peace. Recognize the difference.
Students commonly don't feel confident knowing if it is their guide or not. This is where these guidelines become most important. Are you feeling fear around it? Are you feeling calm and peace around it? That's it. That's how you know. If you get nothing else from the tips we're going to give you in a moment, remember those 2 things.
Boom. Do not get caught up in, is it my guide? Is it not? Can my animal guide speak to me? Can they not? It doesn't matter the guide, because we're again getting caught up in the messenger instead of the message and how it's delivered, how we feel that message and how the message comes through, because that's one of the most important parts, is how does it come through? Is it calm? Is it relaxed? Is it peaceful? Or is it fearful? Does it have that sense of urgency, that oh shit, that pressure?
Okay, like we said, we want to clear up some things that we see our clients getting caught up on, consistently getting caught up on the details of what it is. We want to know those details so bad, but then we get ourselves in a frenzy and we miss the message and we miss what it is we should do.
So now, this is the point where we've got 11 rapid fire tips for trusting your intuition. Every single one of these is gold. Do not skip them, because some of them might seem really simple, but they are very important.
Tip number 1 is stillness. Be still, open, and receptive. If at first you don't receive, you might start to panic, right? If you don't receive, relax and allow it to enter instead of chasing it around in a frenzy trying to find it. This is our first natural impulse, looking for that message. I know it's coming from somewhere, but stay still.
Yeah, stay still like water, okay? So you're looking everywhere, but you're looking from a state of fear and panic. Chill, relax, because force creates resistance. Anytime you try to push or pressure something, it's going to fight back. It's going to close down. So it closes down that conduit of information, so you can't really hear it. Don't make me turn this radio off, right? Even if you're getting messages that are coming from fear, you're not going to get the right message at the right time.
So number 2 is detachment. Do not be attached to the answer or outcome. A lot of times, whether we like it or not, we have a preconceived idea of what the answer should be. You gotta have faith. So, oh no, that's not right. You gotta have faith that you are always receiving what you need. Attempting to strong arm your inner voice and giving you the answer you want only causes that inner voice to shut off. Your fight or flight voice now steps in. Remember that first voice? So do not strong arm your inner voice.
Not a good idea.
No.
It's very common to get attached to the outcome. I want it this way, especially if you're coming from any kind of an emotional place. Then, what do? We blame our guides. Then we go back to, is it my guide? Is it not my guide? Is it a bad guide? Am I getting bad information?
How did you receive the message in the first place? Let's go back to that. Were you calm and peaceful when you first received it? So you might get the answer, and at first it feels good, and you try it, but it doesn't fit perfectly. That's okay. Just have faith, go with it, because you're trying. Trying is the most important part, right? Or one of. It's going to change and shift into the right thing eventually.
The important part is, did you feel calm and peaceful when you first received it? And it might be a piece that says, are you ready? It might be a little test to say, are you ready? Are you ready for the actual answer? I'm going to give you this little nugget and I'm going to see if you're ready for more. Are you listening? Right?
And if you take this in a state of peace and calm and have trust and faith, then you're going to get more good stuff. If you start going into a panic, oh no, that's not it, that's not the message, that's not right, well then those messages are going to close down. And that's where you can really kind of freak yourself out and trip your brain up and get into that kind of psychotic behavior almost, where you're like, oh, I don't know who to listen to when you get kind of crazy.
So let's go on to tip number 3, assurance. Listen with assurance. Be assured that the universe is working for you. See the blessing, see the lesson, and seek to know your part within that answer, within that guidance. Don't whine and ask for the situation to change without first asking whether or not you've learned what you have needed from the situation and have gotten the answer or whatever it is. And more importantly, listening. Listen.
It can be tricky because messages from spirit, from our subconscious, can be super subjective, and we can alter it by our emotional state, by our mental state, and a lot of other factors. So coming back always to that number 1, which is calm, still, and peaceful, and listening and open is the place to be. Because if you're asking for a situation to change, but haven't learned the lesson is going to continue showing up in different ways.
Boom. Moving on to number 4 is trust. Know that your answers can and do come from everywhere and everyone and everything, even your frenemies. And when you ask, you will receive. Truth can come from anywhere. And sometimes it doesn't seem to fit into our accepted belief system. Okay, so out of the mouth of babes comes truth because their channels are clear. They're not worried about saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or whether or not the information is real or if it's fake or whatever. They just let it flow.
The more you let it flow, the more you will see. If you've got your eyes set on seeing the growth, the opportunity, the lesson, and the positive from any experience, I don't care how difficult the experience is, if you keep looking for the positive, you will eventually find it.
Boom. Number 5 is assessment. If you feel yourself resisting and rejecting ideas or peaceful thoughts because they are unfamiliar, stop and reassess. Maybe the idea is valid, but you're resisting it because of an unknown, a fear. Stop and reassess.
There are multitudinous ways that we can trip ourselves up when receiving guidance, right? We've all done it. We feel like our life is really shitty. Our guides are not speaking to us. My guides aren't listening. I'm asking. I'm in pain. I'm suffering. And we let that cloud up our eyes, and there is so much static we can't hear.
And if you can't hear, you can't heal, right? So it's continually having faith and coming back to that peace and calm for yourself, because the answer might already be there. You're just not hearing it. You're not feeling it because you're panicking in fear, right? When you're in that state of fight or flight, when you're in that state of pain and suffering, you're going to call more pain and suffering to you.
When you start looking for the blessing, no matter how difficult, start looking for the blessing in your situation. No matter how jacked up the situation may seem, you will start to find your way out, especially if it feels like you're in a complete state of darkness. You can find your way out if you're looking for the light. If you're not looking for the light, you're going to remain in that darkness, in that circle of holy shit, and never get out of it.
That's a holy shit circle.
Yep.
Like we said, this is tricky because everybody's situation is different and everybody feels their life differently. These are general guidelines and hopefully one or more of them will resonate with you and you'll be able to tune into a message, a piece, whatever it is that you need for your particular life.
Number 6 is patience, and this tests all of us. I don't care who you are. Being patient and willing to accept the answer is coming in the best time frame for you can be the hardest thing to do.
So we get caught up on the question of how long is it going to take? I asked, where's my Amazon order, right? I already put in my order. Is it delivered yet? Is it here yet? And you know, micromanage the tracking system.
It's David's biggest problem. Yours might be my soulmate or, you know,
Right.
my divorce finalizing.
Is it here yet? So when am I going to be out of this situation maybe? The time frame is right for you. Trust that along that time frame, you might have lessons to learn that aren't yet in your awareness.
Been there. Yeah.
That takes that patience, right?
Yeah, I know. I've gone through this. I suffered from it during a health issue where I was told my situation was incurable. But when I went through it, I knew I've got lessons to learn while I'm in this. I had a lot of fear, like I'm never going to be cured from this. But I kept going back, and it took a lot of willpower to keep going back to that peacefulness, keep going back to that patience. The time is right. It's not my timing. I want it done, right? But the timing in the end was perfect for me, because if I hadn't had every single lesson along the way, I wouldn't be who I am right now, right? So the time frame is right for you. You got to trust that.
And that time frame is coming from your higher wisdom, your inner wisdom that knows the bigger picture that you can't see when you're in the darkness. That's not the time frame that you might think is logically right for you. The wheels are already underway for your highest good. Go back to that thought, that peaceful, this is working out for me, even if I don't quite understand it right now, right? Go back to that thought, even though it might sound like a fruity thing to say. But it's kind of true. Allow the answer to come when it's ready in divine timing. Don't force it.
Now we get into number 7, which is releasing judgment. Don't judge the messenger or the way it was delivered. So just because a 5-year-old doesn't have a doctorate in theology doesn't mean she can't give you a divinely inspired message. I hear children say brilliant, profound things all the time. So release judgment about the message and the messenger.
Boom. With all of these tips, we all have challenges surrounding all of them. But that's part of being human and learning to listen better. I want to talk about judgment for a moment, because when we are in a situation that seems hopeless, we continue to create that storyline in our mind that it's hopeless. And what we're actually doing there is we are perpetuating the cycle of pain because we choose not to see the light in the situation, or the pain has overtaken our ability to see the light. It's going to take a little work, right? But you have the power to come back to that peace and that calm, however small it might seem in the moment, and build on it.
Have faith that somewhere, it might be a long time from now, who knows how long it's going to be, but have faith that somewhere there will be an out for you. There will be a way for you to release and relieve your pain. If you do not believe that, you will continue to create pain in your life, no matter how much good there is for you. We know you guys have burdens that are really hard. But all of these tips about clearing the static on your line to be a better listener will help you stay aligned with peace.
Boom. So number 8 is release fear. And we know it takes a lot of work to face fears and to overcome them, to stabilize that state of peace so that you can proceed without fear, right? And with assurance that all will be well, and keep coming back to that and going forward without the fear of doing it wrong or making mistakes. Then you know that even your mistakes are going to turn out to be the right choice in the end, because you just keep going, just keep swimming. So be at peace as you move forward. A lot of this is about being at peace.
If you haven't noticed. Then we get into number 9, be spontaneous. Maybe many times.
Yeah, maybe many times.
Many times with our messages, we get really rigid. I have to do it this way. But the future is like a river that continues to flow and change, and circumstances can change, and there's free will at play everywhere, which is why it's so hard to nail down life if you've got a really rigid mindset. Okay? Allow for surprises and unexpected creative elements to kind of spontaneously erupt.
Like this guy.
David, spontaneously
Erupting.
Yeah. Be inspired in ways you did not expect. Release expectations for how you think things should go.
And then we get on to number 10. Boom. And this is take action. Right? That was very action oriented, right? Guidance requires action in order for guidance to be validated. You can't sit there asking for validation, but you're not doing anything, right? So if you don't do anything with your information, it doesn't come to life. Without action, our faith, without the work, it becomes impotent or dead. And we tend to not get any more messages because we're not doing anything.
Pretty much.
Right.
There's a concept of grace, and I talk about it a lot, and it sounds very religious, but it's common to every spiritual system on the planet. Grace is the concept where you hear a lot of people saying, I'm saved by grace, and we don't understand the concept really all the time, and people think that's all there is to it. I just say it, then I'm saved, and then they get mad when nothing happens. But here's how it really works. You do the very best you can, and that best might be 10%. Let's say you're in chronic pain. Your life is really sucking right now. Whatever that is, it's happening to you. You've only got 10%, but you do your best with that. That 10% of what is required of that 100% might be 100% of what you can do right now. That's okay.
Right, so you offer that 10% to the universe, and that's your 100%. That's your giving it your all. You ask for guidance, and the universe, God, source energy, whatever that is going to fill in that 90% for you. Think about your kids, right? Anybody who's got kids, they come in and they do their best, and you help them along the way.
Right.
If you can do your best at 10%, the universe is going to fill it in. If you give 100% of what you've got. Okay? So that's where that faith and work and grace alchemy happens. Faith plus work equals grace.
Right. You do as much as you can. You have faith that the universe has got your back, and you move forward in the best way possible for you. And grace has the best interest and dividends on the planet because it's like a big percentage. I don't know what, but infinite percentage. But you got to do your part. If you haven't done your part and turned in all the work to your teacher that you were supposed to do, they can't really help you anymore until you do that 100% of your 10%, whatever that is for you.
You got to do something, and it's really got to be your best. Otherwise, the universe is going to be like, well, you're not giving your best. I don't care what percentage it is. You're just not coming to the table, right? So, on to number 11. CTFO. Okay? This is the most important one to have. Peace that you are guided, and you're going to be where you need to be and have what you need in any given moment at the right time, right? So CTFO, chill the funk out. You don't have to be the best, just do your best.
I want to address pain, especially chronic pain. This is a very difficult thing to deal with, but I want you to realize how powerful you are in this situation. You are the most powerful being in the universe, in your world. So keep in mind, it's tough. Chronic pain is tough. We have a lot of clients with chronic pain, so we understand it, we work with it, and it is difficult to continue to come back to that place of peace, not trying to dismiss or neglect or downplay any of the pain you're going through, because it is a very real thing for you.
Now, there are ways to move through it with more peace, but it does require that 10%/100% from you, which may be just faith that you will have some way to make your journey easier, and possibly even faith that things can come your way to help you enjoy life a bit more along the way. But first, that 10% you can do your 100%, whatever that is for you.
Your reaction to the situation is a key component. It is the most important piece. And if you're ready to hear it now, fantastic. And if you're not ready to hear it now, I do hope that someday you will be ready to hear how powerful you are. But, it's really okay to be pissed off. If you're in chronic pain, absolutely, things are going to shit. And I've been there. I've been in a situation where I didn't know when I was going to get out of a health crisis, if at all. For 2 years, it was rough. So it's no joke. Chronic pain is no joke because it's very difficult to tune into spirit, into guidance, into peace and calm when your body feels terrible, right?
Yes, indeed. So for those with chronic pain, it is really a big challenge because your physical body is present and it is always yelling at you. So we both have mad respect for you, okay? It is a difficult thing. It is a tough journey for all of you chronic pain sufferers and everyone else that suffers from feeling lost in the middle of the big expanse of life that you have to do something with, and hopefully something meaningful. But we do have faith that you will find the way out when you're ready.
So there you go. This has been huge for many of our clients. The struggle with how do I get to that place of peace and listen to what the universe, God, source wants for me? And are they even listening? Are they even there trying to help me? I feel that goes for so many, and we've gone through it ourselves. We hope you take these simple guidelines to heart and make them work. They do work, but you have to put in the work initially to create new habits.
So how is that for you? Did we deliver something valuable? Let us know in the comments with #valuable.
Now it's time for your end of the deal. All you have to do is listen to our offer, even if you don't take us up on it.
Boom. If there were a place to come together with other awakening intuitives and empaths to answer more of your burning questions, to put in your requests, to have even more videos talking about topics like this, would you want to at least hear about it?
If there was a place to connect with like minds and share your experiences without being told you're crazy, would you want to know where it was?
If you could join us on a live stream every week talking about topics that you choose, would you keep us company?
If there were new videos every week on topics that actually help you make sense out of the chaos in your mind to bring clarity and peace, would you watch them?
Because now you can have all of that and you won't even have to give your firstborn.
You don't even need to be super psychic or naturally gifted.
All it takes is a little faith. Gotta have faith, baby. And those with faith are rewarded with a safe place to get answers.
Today we want you to have a chance at peace, clarity, and confidence.
Introducing the Intuitive Awakening Community.
Each week we go live in the group to talk about topics you choose and post valuable insights, sharing what we've learned working with thousands of clients and students from all over the world since 2008, helping solve some of the most common issues that face intuitives and empaths.
So what would it be worth to have that kind of insight? Let's find out. Okay, so we have spent tens of thousands of hours working with clients and students, gathering data and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So let's just say it's worth at least $10,000, and that doesn't even count the training and education we put into our work.
We're not going to charge you $10,000, not even close. We're not even going to charge you half of that.
The suspense is killing me. Are you ready to have your mind blown?
Let us know in the comments how much you think it's going to be.
I don't think that they're going to even come close. I don't think anyone is going to come close.
So tens of thousands of hours, thousands of clients over 13 years, over 400 5-star reviews, and quite a few of them have even said that it's more in 1 hour than 10 years of therapy.
Yep, I think it's priceless, really, especially after seeing the results that are constantly happening.
Ready, set, drum roll, please.
How about free? Okay, that's right. We have created an absolutely free Facebook group called the Intuitive Awakening Community for people to get a good foundation, get some basics, and learn how to get started with a group of like-minded people without being called crazy. All you have to do is click the link below, answer a few questions, and you'll be good to go.
I know it seems crazy that we would do this for free, And we're going to share a little secret. It's just a small taste of our paid program. And just like what we've done here, all we ask is that you come check it out for free. If you get value from it and want to explore the paid program, that's an option.
But there's no stress, there's no pressure. Come hang out with us live each week. Enjoy the videos and the other content that we post in there. Hang out with all the people in the group.
Get some questions answered. Find some guidance and direction to clear the clutter and static of your mind. Finally get some quality information that doesn't leave you out in the Google void.
Google Void. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments.
Let us know if you've gotten something valuable today by dropping a hashtag valuable in the comments.
And click the link below to join the Intuitive Awakening community for free. We'll see you inside. We know that time is a valuable and precious resource. The fact that you guys have chosen to spend that with us, we absolutely honor and appreciate that. But more importantly, that you are here to level up your life, your mind, your skills, and take everything to a whole new level. We honor and appreciate that even more. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next video.